Ladies and gentlemen, here we are back in the studio, Hudson County View, live in Uncut. I'm your host, not always a saint, but rarely a sinner, the guy that's got the look and the feel of a certified winner, John Arhitis. And of course, as always, we're going to bring you the latest and greatest in Hudson County news. Unfortunately, before we get into it, some somber news from late last night. We have to offer our condolences to two that passed away in a fire, one 8-month-old and one 11-year-old. That's a matter that's being investigated by the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, specifically the Regional Arson Unit, and also our condolences on the fatal shooting of Raven Harris, a 30-year-old that was killed in front of a liquor store last night, according to authorities. So, again, unfortunately, two tragedies there in Jersey City, 3 lives lost. So we need to acknowledge those before we get into anything else. On the lighter side of things, though, we will be talking about the Jersey City municipal elections. We have 2 challengers set up in Ward F and Ward B, so we're going to talk about that. And the Jersey City Council also met last night, and we saw $6.7 million in improvements for the Newark Avenue pedestrian plaza, though we also heard some choice words from Councilman at Large Rolando Lavaro, of course, a potential mayoral challenger to Stephen Fulop. And beyond that, I'm also going to be joined remotely by New Jersey Assemblywoman Annette Chaparro. Of course, that's of Legislative District 33. So we're going to chat with her right after this commercial break.
Ferns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Ferns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Ferns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunley Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. John Arhitis. And as just mentioned, I'm joined with New Jersey Assemblywoman Annette Chaparro, who is joining us remotely. Annette, thanks for being a part of the program.
Thank you for having me, John.
You're welcome. So first of all, let me talk about something that was actually in the beginning of 2020. We saw Governor Phil Murphy sign Zachary's law into law, and that was, of course, after that unfortunate hit and run in Hoboken. And I know you worked with the family and some of your colleagues, and I'm sure many other stakeholders. And on that point, though, I've never actually seen an alert that was made in connection with this law. So I was just curious what the latest was there, and if this was something that perhaps was getting amended or anything else. I'm just wanted to hear what the latest is.
Well, I mean, it is in effect. It's just that obviously the alert will go into play if there was information to give out. And of course, that would come from the local or whoever's investigating the hit and run. So if there's information to send out, then of course the alert will go in. I mean, we just wouldn't be giving a description of a vague description, so to speak. So everyone would have to be, in order for it to work, it would be to put the other law enforcement in alert and the municipalities in alert, just to know that there was a hit and run, it was fatal or seriously injured, and then those are the protocols, those are the criterias, I should say. So right, if that happened, if everything fell into place, it does work.
Got it. Okay. So speaking on some more current legislative matters that I know you're a part of, I know there is a reproductive bill that you have sponsored, and I know this is something that you've been talking about for a few months. So for people that perhaps may have missed it, could you just give us the synopsis of what's going on there and why you felt strong enough to put your name behind it?
I think that is one of the most important bills for women. And we just want to make sure that women have the right to choose, that they have safe remedies to make those choices. There are so many, we deal with so much, and New Jersey needs to be in the forefront to make sure that women have the right to have safe access to safe abortions if that's what they choose to do. I know it's not for everyone, but if they wanted to make that decision, it's their body. I believe they have the right to that. We want to just make sure that people have, that women have those tools, and we need to just make sure that we have that in place, especially in New Jersey. We have a big crowd, big advocates that are really strong on that. And as women, we should be rallying up. I know everyone has their own beliefs, but I do believe that women should have safe access for insurance, affordable insurance, and reproductive rights of all kinds. And we need to be supportive of that. And I am very supportive of that. Safety is number one.
So yes, certainly this is some legislation that has a lot of support among Democrats. We heard last year Governor Phil Murphy firmly behind it. I'm sure many of your colleagues. What about on the other side of the aisle, though? What are you hearing from the Republicans?
From the Republican side, I'm just full force on what I believe and what I want to present. I'm sure there are people on the other side that feel strongly about it. I'm sure there are women that support it too. So I really cannot tell you specifically who's against it and why. I just kind of stay focused on what I'm trying to accomplish.
All right. I noticed you just tweeted about this the beginning of the week. So you think this is something that will come to a vote soon?
I would hope so. That is the intent, that we get it heard and that we just push this through. And I'm hoping that we accomplish that. Okay.
So, Assemblywoman, you're probably aware that 2 weeks ago I had Hoboken 2nd Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher on the program, and she was consistent with her message that she is firmly against the Palisades Cliffs Protection Act, and she laid a lot of the blame at the feet of State Senator Brian Stack. But, some people may not be familiar that you're actually the sponsor of the Assembly. So, given that we have this time, I figured you'd want to address some of the criticism that she had, that this would be bad for Hoboken, and just anything else about why you felt like this was a good thing for the whole state of New Jersey, not just Hoboken and Hudson County.
All right, so I am a little disappointed that she didn't reach out to me, gave me a call. I would think that I would hope that I'm approachable. We have had conversations in the past, and the whole point of any legislation, you're going to have people that are going to disagree, and we are an elected official, especially as women elected official. We should give each other the respect to have a conversation. And because I am the prime sponsor in the Assembly side, I would have hoped that she would have called me and just tell me her concerns. I hear her. I understand where she's coming from, but I'm really confused as to the full message and the drive that she tried to, the point she tried to make, which was, I believe she called the bill dishonest. I think that's what the word she used. And
yes.
So of course I was, okay, so I just wanted to make sure. So of course I was taken back by that, because if we never had a conversation, if you never called me ever on the topic, if I came out on the Jersey Journal with a quote saying that I understand people's concern, because the first person who called me with some concerns, with a lot of concerns, was Stevens Institute. We had a great conversation. Then it was the organized laborers, pipe fitters. They called me. We had a meeting. I thought it was a productive meeting. That is the whole point of when you put out legislation. There's going to be stakeholders that are going to give you a call and tell you what they don't like about the bill or why they oppose it. I didn't have that opportunity, and I didn't understand why. I just didn't understand why we couldn't have that conversation, especially when there were a lot of things that were pointed out that I felt was not giving the full story, and I felt that was dishonest. If you're going to call the bill, say that there's being built on the cliff, there's something being built there, and it was just approved. Well, the part that she left out was it wasn't just approved. Final approval was last year, but this is a project that's been going on since 2006, and the county was also involved. So clearly, it wasn't an easy project or something that everyone was on board with, and it just went through with flying colors. There's a lot in there, and I think she knows that when it comes to any kind of development, there's a lot that goes into it.
So on that point, Assemblywoman, we're just going to hear a quick word from our sponsors, but we're going to let you pick up where you left off in just a moment.
Okay.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport, live like you want.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. John Arhitis, and I'm still here with New Jersey Assemblywoman Annette Chaparro. So, Assemblywoman, you were just telling us why you were a bit perturbed, I guess you could say, about what the councilwoman had to say a couple weeks ago about the Palisade Cliffs Protection Act. So, with that all said, could you tell us a little bit why you thought this was a good bill and why you support this and why you think this is just a responsible piece of legislation?
Look, we wanted to protect, of course, the Palisade Cliffs. And I don't just represent Hoboken. So it makes my job that much harder. It would be easy if it was just Hoboken, right? But I have other cities that I represent. And to be perfectly honest, when this legislation came about, I thought it was a good look, but I didn't just jump in it just because how it was presented, just because the senators decided to do it, so I had to follow suit. But I will say this: what confuses me, and this is why I needed to have a conversation, and I hope that this opens the door for her to continue to have a conversation, a dialogue with me, is that we had a survey done. We had a survey done for the Western Edge. And that survey, the majority of the people that did the survey, 58%, I'm going to say, or 75%, let's go there, 10 stories, didn't want no more than 10 stories, right? So 58% didn't want no more than 7 stories. That's a big number. So I thought, well, this is going to affect them, right? Survey says people want smaller buildings. So I felt that the majority of our constituents in Hoboken especially wanted to keep the character, which is something that a lot of the elected officials say a lot. We don't want high rises. We want to keep the character of Hoboken, smaller buildings, and keep it strong. I agree with that. On top of that, we also had the survey also included protecting the cliffs. So clearly that was a conversation. Clearly that was important. It may have not got like 70% wanted to protect the cliffs, but a good 30% thought it was very important. So that's not zero. And now we have the North End. This was conducted during the Western End, where they were just showing the plans, getting the people involved. We're talking about over 1,600 people that decided to take the time to go step by step and actually do the survey. So I would think that we would honor that and we would know what the people want. And on top of that, they just released the North End redevelopment plan, and they addressed the cliff there. Right? So if they address the cliff, clearly it's important. So I was still confused as to why it was so, it just transpired that way. I'm confused. I wish that, and I hope this is an extension for her, an invitation for her to come and have a conversation with me. We're both elected officials. We represent, I want to represent what's best for our communities. And of course, there are going to be people that are not going to be happy, but I want to hear that. And I want to just point out, only one constituent reached out to me, one. So I think that people, and I believe Councilman Doyle said he really likes the idea of not going past the cliff. So there's a lot of people that feel that way. And I just thought that maybe the honest thing to do was to have a conversation. And if I didn't return her call, or if I was just being vague, then she could go about and say what she wanted to say. And I know she feels strongly about it, so I respect that. But I really wish she gave me the respect by having a conversation, because I do want to do what's right. And I think in the end, we'll all have a democratic process with every municipality involved will have a say. It's still early, but I'm sure that's what's going to happen.
Yes, okay. Well, I mean, we've seen in the Senate that this went to committee at least once and didn't make it through. It ended up being pulled. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of amendments, I would guess, before this comes to a final vote. But like you said, it's still early. The legislative session, the year just started. So with that in mind, as you may have heard, there's also a mayoral contest in Hoboken this year. So at the moment, we have Mayor Ravi Bala running unopposed, but it seems unlikely that'll hold. I mean, it looks like First Ward Councilman Mike DeFusco is probably going to end up running. But regardless, how do you see this thing playing out? And do you have any preference on the outcome?
Well, I haven't given it much thought. One is, as you said, it is a little early, and a day in politics, a lot can change. So
I've heard that.
No one has approached me or asked for my endorsement, and understandably so. It's still early. But I will say this, John. I love Hoboken. That's where I grew up. This is my home. I want to do a good job and represent my hometown. I will work with whoever is the mayor, and I'm sure that whoever is the mayor wants what's right for Hoboken. So I am more than willing to work with any mayor, and that goes for every municipality in my district. It is important for us as legislators, elected officials, to really step up and work together. We don't have to like each other. We don't have to agree, but we really need to step up, especially during these times. People are hurting. People need our help, and I can't do it by myself. I need everyone's help, and I think that we should step up and just work together. So I am confident that we'll have this conversation a couple of months from now. It'll be different, and then we'll have it a couple of months later, and it'll be different again. But until then, right now, I have no thoughts on that.
All right, makes sense. Thank you so much for your time, Assemblywoman. It's always a pleasure. We'll chat soon. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. We're not done yet, but we're going to take one more break.
Most women who give birth recover without problems, but any woman can have complications after the birth of a baby. Learn the post-birth warning signs, such as fever, headache, chest pain, shortness of breath, increased bleeding, or thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. Knowing these can save your life or the life of someone that you love. Trust your instincts. If you feel something is wrong, call and get evaluated by your healthcare provider. If your symptoms get worse or you do not hear back from your physician, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Pinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintoproperties.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View live at Uncut, John Arhitis. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about some municipal elections in Jersey City, as I said at the top of the program. So first of all, in Ward B, we've heard that now Joel Brooks, who's a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, the Northern New Jersey, specifically the Hudson County branch, as well as the Hudson County Progressive Alliance, will be challenging the incumbent Mira Prinzeri. So let's look a little bit about his announcement, which we were fortunate enough to be able to report first. So, when I reached out to Mr. Brooks, this is what he said. He said, the Jersey City Council has tremendous power to shape our city and impact our communities, from taxes to housing and tenants' rights to public safety, public health, and the city budget. The City Council has a huge role. Right now, the majority of the City Council accepts donations from real estate developers, police unions, and corporate landlords who have the city government working for them, not tenants and working class residents of Jersey City. I will never take their money, I will never work for them, and I will always stand with Ward B Jersey City residents. So obviously some pretty strong words there out the gate from Mr. Brooks. And, Mira Prinzeri, of course, was elected in 2017. She ran on Mayor Fulop's ticket then. She will run with Mayor Fulop's ticket again in November. And right now, these are the only two declared candidates in Ward B. So, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of time on the clock, about 9 months. But right now, it looks like this is the most competition we got on the west side. But another person who announced recently is, you know him probably as Educational Gilmore, Frank Gilmore in Ward F. So he actually filed with the New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission last Tuesday. And he's been coming out full speed ahead. He called into the council meeting last night. He spoke out against the Newark Avenue pedestrian plaza upgrades. He's taken some shots at social media on his upcoming opponent, of course, Ward F Councilman Jermaine Robinson. So, looks like he's going to have a very aggressive approach here. And it looks like he's serious about taking that Ward F seat. So let's take a look about what he had to say about this upcoming race. So he told me last week that the timing is not traditional, but everything with me is about honor and legacy. And given that it's Black History Month, we decided to announce in February. Moving the conversation from affordable housing to affordable homeownership is a big priority. I'd like to create a program where houses and properties could go towards the community and recreation will be paramount to anything. I'm just of the opinion that there isn't enough recreation and youth enrichment. And, he also pointed out that in last year's budget, Robinson voted for a spending plan that would actually cut some of the rec budget, and he wasn't too happy about that. And he also just felt like that he hasn't been in touch with the community. Now, Educational Gilmore, as many of you know him, has a very interesting story. I mean, this is somebody that was arrested 31 times as a minor, and then 10 times as an adult. Did a couple years in prison. Dealt drugs as a teenager, but, he's made quite a comeback in recent years, especially. He has the Educational Gilmore Community Learning Center that's at 135 Monticello Ave. And back in December 19, right around the same time as that unfortunate domestic terrorism incident in Ward F, he was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and he actually was able to get 2 years free rent and $50,000 to go towards his community center. And this is somebody that is also known to do programs on top of the Learning Center, such as we've seen him shoveling walks recently with the recent winter weather. And, also has been someone that has been a coach. A lot of people also know him as Coach Wu. So, certainly no stranger to Ward F and no stranger to the members of the community there. So this looks like this could be a pretty intriguing matchup. But if 2017 tells us anything, though, this is not going to be a head-to-head contest. And even, the elections prior to that, Ward F usually has 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 6 candidates. And quite frankly, even with the public health emergency, I don't see that changing too much. I would expect no less than 4 people to end up running as of today. Granted, it's still extremely early. But I think this is going to be a crowded ballot in Ward F as usual. And that, of course, opens the door for a December runoff, which, in the past has tended to favor incumbents, but this could be a different ballgame given everything that's going on with the vaccination process. It will be a little more difficult, even more so than usual, to get people engaged with their local government, their local elected officials, their council members. So, this is obviously an election cycle that's going to have a lot of extra challenges. Of course, there's no president at the top of the ballot this year, so we're going to have to wait and see. And as some have pointed out to me, while he made an informal announcement several months ago in Ward C, we have Attorney Tom Zupa, a former assistant prosecutor for the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, who is now in private practice, now at Chase and Lamparello, will be challenging in Ward C against Rich Baggiato, who is also on Mayor Stephen Fulop's ticket. So with that, we're going to take another break. We'll be right back.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, located right off of NJ 440 North. Across the Hudson Mall is your one-stop for all your automotive needs. Check out Ford's latest models like the 2020 Ford Fusion with its stylish looks and hybrid options, or the unparalleled high-performance 2020 Ford Mustang. The 2020 Ford F-150 Raptor is ready for those rugged off-road terrains with trail control. Need a mid-sized truck for your towing and hauling? The 2020 Ford Ranger will deliver. The 2020 Ford Escape is a luxury SUV that was made for comfort and adventure on the go. Returning is Ford's legendary Bronco, which takes you back to the true meaning of off-roading. They are now available for pre-order in our showroom or on our website. Let us help you find your next vehicle. Stevens Jersey City Ford, 201-432-7272.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut, John Arhitis. So a little bit of hurry up offense. Couple other things I wanted to touch on before we call it a week here at the Hudson Media Group studio. So first of all, the Bayonne Planning Board, as expected, approved an 880,000 square foot plan to have a UPS distribution center at the former Military Ocean Terminal. So we saw before the meeting, actually on Monday, we saw that this is proposed by the Liquid Equities Group, and it's going to be a distribution center that would host UPS as a tenant on about 150 acres of waterfront land that would have access to global terminals of the New Jersey Turnpike. And we heard from quite a few officials, including Mayor Jimmy Davis and Senator Menendez. So quickly, the senator said at the time that this is a welcomed addition to the revitalization of the former Montby site and great news for Bayonne's families. I applaud Mayor Davis and his council for their continued leadership in attracting new, good-paying jobs and economic opportunities for the city. So as expected, this passed unanimously when it was in front of the planning board. And looks like things are moving along swimmingly. The council will vote on this next. And I would expect shovels to be in the ground at some point this year, though that's not official yet. But when we do have something more formal, we will certainly let you know. With that, I also wanted to talk about last night's Jersey City Council meeting. I mentioned at the top of the program some consternation among residents about the $6.7 million in upgrades for the Newark Avenue pedestrian plaza. It cleared the council by a pretty definitive vote, 7-1. The one person who voted against is Councilman at Large Rolando Navarro. We know that he is mulling a bid for mayor. He hasn't made any decisions yet, but you know, it looks like he is someone who is not afraid to speak his mind, and last night was certainly no different. I mean, it looked like this was going to be a pretty quick vote. I mean, we heard from Ward D Councilman Yusuf Saleh as well as Ward F Councilman Jermaine Robinson, and they admitted this price tag was a bit hefty, but they said that, you know, the wealth, so to speak, has been spread around throughout the city. You know, the Central Avenue project in Ward D, and we also heard about the Berry Lane Park, Fulton Avenue Park, and City Hall Annex in Ward F. And then when it came to Navarro, you know, he's had a very different perspective on what was going on here. And he said, I'd like an explanation. It was asked by the public. The original budget was $4 million. It's now coming out to $6.7 million. Where's the other $2.7 million coming from? And, you know, it led to a short argument with the acting business administrator, John Metro, and later led to a little bit more of an argument between him and the council president, Joyce Waterman. They were talking over each other. There was obvious annoyance on both sides. And the councilman said that he was just not willing to accept a quote-unquote half-assed explanation. And even if this thing passes, he's going to still press forward to get this information. And if you had a chance to read the resolution, we linked to that in our story. It says the funds are coming from the city's capital accounts. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a week. Thanks so much for joining. We'll see you soon. Stay safe.